Hey guys, it's Sutonia here, and today I'm going to be talking about the Hawk, which is a Caldari assault frigate. It's a sister to the Harpy. It is pretty fun to fly. It's kind of more of a duelist frigate, rather than one that is designed to sort of deal with more situations, I find. So the Hawk is a rocket ship that has an active tank bonus, which is mostly what makes it powerful, and especially powerful in duels. The Hawk is actually really powerful in low sec because of that reason, especially when you combine implants, links, that kind of stuff that tends to be a lot more prevalent in low sec rather than null sec. I'm using a null sec fit right now though. I guess I'll talk about my fit. So this is a double medium series shield booster Hawk. I'm using obviously 4 rocket launcher 2s in the highs for damage. Got kinetic loaded. The Hawk actually does a lot of damage with kinetic. It does incredibly high DPS. It has 8 effective launchers, which is a lot for a frigate. In fact, it comes close to doing destroyer Corax tower damage with missiles, although it's limited because of the kinetic lock, which is kind of what makes that balanced. If you're not shooting kinetic, you don't really do that much more damage than a Kestrel, because you still got the 5% bonus. It's rate of fire, so it's slightly stronger, but it's close to the same DPS as a Kestrel if you're not using kinetic. Of course, also similar to a Kestrel is it has the range bonus on the launchers, so you can actually scram kite a lot with this ship, and it's not very vulnerable to scram kiters, even though it kind of falls into like a brawler category in a way. So the Hawk is very flexible. I guess I go around to the mids and lows. Medium and series shield boosters, pretty obvious. I put them on each end so that way I can heat them both for longer. Normally I try to put my Microwarpdrive on the ends, but in this case I've decided to put these on the end just so I can heat them as much as possible without burning everyone out. You really want to heat your ancillaries as much as possible. I just got a compact Microwarpdrive, a faint scram, and a fleeting web. These are pretty standard mids. You could drop down to a compact scram if you wanted to upgrade this to a Tech 2 ballistic control unit, but I don't really think it's worth it. I think you really want the faint scram because you really, in some situations, you really want to abuse your max velocity bonus on your rockets. Oh, and also I have an autocannon here. It's just kind of there for extra DPS. It's an extra 25 DPS, which is quite nice if you are up close against something. It is hard really to argue with the damage increase, I think. Even though it's not really reliable damage, it is there and it is quite nice. And it's almost free since this takes one grid free CPU, and you have that. You can get rid of the autocannon, and then you can drop down this fit actually requires a implant, 2% power grid implant to fit. You can drop down to 1% power grid implant if you want to get rid of the autocannon, but I definitely think it's worth just having that autocannon there because an extra 25 DPS is nice. And then you just got a co-processor too for this to fit. Again, the Hawk is one of those ships that's pretty hard to fit if you're not flying in low sec, so you need the power grid implant, you need this co-processor here. And just a compact ballistic control unit, as mentioned before, just more DPS. I've also got a Tech 2 bay loading accelerator on here too, just for even more DPS. I think DPS is quite important on the ship, but it's up to you. You can go tankier if you want. You can, I think you can drop this down to a damage control, maybe even a named damage control, and you can maybe get like something else here, like a power diagnostic unit, and then get rid of the the finning implant if you wanted to, if you want to go a bit more tanky. But I think DPS is important. And then also I've just got a Tech 2 EM hardener here, EM screen reinforcer, just to kind of get rid of the EM hole. Still doesn't have great EM resist or explosive resist, but hey, it's pretty nice. So yeah, as I mentioned, the Hawk is more of a duelist, I find. There were a lot of situations where I kind of felt like it struggled when it came to, like, I don't know, going back to gates, 1v2 situations. I think this is something that makes it a lot more powerful in low sec, because obviously you have the gates in low sec that restricts what can come in, and generally in low sec you're more likely to get 1v1, 1v2, rather than null sec. It's more about killing some dude before his blob lands on you. The Hawk is quite slow. Unlike the Harpy, the Hawk actually takes 5 seconds to get into warp because it has the 4.29-second align, so you're going to get caught a lot more on gates than the Harpy does. If you're kind of wondering, what ship should I fly? Should I fly the Harpy or should I fly the Hawk? The Harpy does a lot more upfront damage, and the damage is a bit more reliable because it isn't killed by afterburners. And although the Hawk does do more damage at range because it's a rocket ship and you do have that Scramkite option, the Harpy does have that double optimal bonus with 7-kilometer optimal null. So it isn't the end of the world for the Harpy if you do get Scramkited. So it's not as vulnerable to, say, afterburner setups or dual prop setups as the Harpy. As the Hawk is. Anyway, moving on to a couple of fights, I guess. I got some good fights. I got some fights that maybe weren't the best kind of fights that you'd show off in a video, but I guess I'll show off the situations. I think people kind of want to see more of that stuff, so enjoy the clips, and I hope you have fun flying this Hawk. I think it's a lot stronger in low sec, as I mentioned. I think in null sec it's okay. I mean, it's a fun ship to fly. It's pretty balanced, but I don't think it's as good as the Anu and the Harpy, which are my top 2 assault frigates right now. So this is probably the best fight I had in the Hawk, and I guess I'll sort of talk you through the situation as it develops. So there was a stabber following me a few jumps. This is 2 jumps out from Horde staging. I mean, a few other guys were sort of flying around too. So I was just chilling here waiting for the stabber to land on the gate and maybe check me out. But for me, what I really want to see here is how fast he goes, his Microwarpdrive speed, and I want to check to see if he actually has a Microwarpdrive, just in case he's like an afterburner only bait fit. I look at his ship and I see 425mm autocannons. That means he probably isn't in a really tanky bait fit, because Stabber has power grid problems if you fit 425s. So he's probably just in large shield extender fit, which is, useful information to have. His base speed seems quite reasonable. He has pretty good agility, so I assume, maybe he has like a speed mod. So yeah, I'm pretty interested in fighting this. I did see that Astero, and he didn't actually warp off, because you can see that his velocity was just in a straight line. He wasn't actually trying to warp, so I know that there's a cloaked Astero around. But, I mean, if the Astero's cloaked and I engage here, I'm pretty confident that the Astero's going to be pretty far away. Also note that, the Stabber is a bit damaged, so I guess he got shot by rats or something, which is, quite interesting. So I go in for the Stabber. I'm trying to get, like, a tight orbit, just to get on top of this guy, so his autocannons can't track me. Unfortunately, it seems like the Astero pinged to a gate ping and then warped down. So now I've got a Stabber and an Astero on me. However, the Astero is quite slow. He doesn't quite put out his drones in time, really. Also, I believe the Stabber also has drones, but he's not using them right now either. So both of these guys are kind of making a mistake. And, thanks to them being a bit sloppy, I am able to tank for a while. I am overboosting here too, so, I wasted a lot of charges. The Hawk is a ship that is really micromanage intensive, and it's difficult to fly. So, the Stabber's going down here. He never puts out his drones, which is a mistake from him. I think I still would have won this fight if he put out his drones, but it's hard to tell with an active tank ship like this. Right now, I'm not using the other one, because I want the thing you want to do in the Hawk, if you can, is you want to be at 30% shields around there, so that way you can maximize your passive shield regeneration. It's not actually that much, but it is nice to know. Also, the Astero was using Hobgoblin 2s on me, so he was using a really terrible damage type, because the Hawk has 80% thermal resistances. I think, if the Stabber put out drones and maybe this guy had Acolyte 2s or something, they probably could have killed me. So, now the Astero's just tanking because I'm reloading my rocket launchers. That's cool. He doesn't have a web, so I can basically just stay on top of this guy the whole time, and, reloaded my other booster now, so, I'm in no danger whatsoever. Astero goes down. That was a pretty nice fight, but it's gonna keep going, because an Atron decides to show up to the party a bit late, so I decided to go on him. I still, you know, have that fresh reloaded cap booster, and I still have a few in the other one too. So, you know, Atron's probably not going to be able to do anything. He does have Tech 2 guns, you know, Light Iron Blaster 2s. So, I mean, there's an Omega player too. I mean, obviously, an Atron isn't going to last long as the Hawk. And then Jaguar comes on D-Scan, and the Jaguar lands. So I decide to... Well, he doesn't land at 0. I mean, I was sort of burning off at this point anyway, so I would have got out if he did land. I want to go for the Jaguar, but what I'm doing now is I'm just waiting to see if he has a Microwarpdrive or not. And I also want to like reload my ship. Yeah, we see here that he does have a Microwarpdrive, which is great. He's not going to be in like some afterburn only trap fit. And he seems willing to fight, which is fun. So I warp to planet 1, just to get some repair on my stuff. You know, my rocket launcher, everything's like really burnt out. But hopefully this guy will follow me here. If not, you know, I can probably find him again. He seemed pretty eager to fight. I will just see like what he does here. I've almost got my shit reloaded anyway, so I got my 2 medium Ancillary shield boosters. Just checking to see if this, you know, Jaguar is gonna show up. And he does. He warps to the customs office at 0 or a 10 or something. And I'm pretty much ready to go at this point. There is a malediction now too, but that's not really all that spooky. I'm pretty confident I can kill a Jaguar anyway, because I've killed a lot of them in Kestrels just by scram kiting them. So yeah, this dude's willing to fight. My stuff's almost repaired, so whatever. I'm just gonna cancel the repair and fight. So, Hawk versus Jaguar, you have 12-kilometer Rage Rocket range. He does not. He has an optimal range bonus on autocannons, which doesn't really help him. Or he could also be artillery too. This Jaguar is an autocannon Jaguar though. But either way, you can outbrawl them at 0 a lot of the time, and you also have just, you know, the scram kiting advantage on top of that. So, you know, I just hold this guy. I burn in a bit close. I mean, he is faster than me. I think he might have had dual prop actually, since he got on top of me pretty quickly. But he still goes down fine. I don't even have to use charges really. But yeah, that's the Hawk. That's probably the best fight I had in it. It's pretty good, especially in engagements like that. Although, you know, obviously all of those guys kind of came in staggered, and you know the Astero made a mistake by using Hobgoblin 2s on me. The Stabber didn't put out his drones. But the Hawk's kind of great in situations like that. So this is just kind of, you know, another normal situation trying to, you know, make a fight happen. So I jump into this gate and there's a Saber and a Cinnaball camping here. They have a drag bubble on the gate, so I assume that they're going to have a drag bubble on the end of this gate, FWA. So I warp to this moon. I warp to the moon so I don't get sucked into the drag bubble, and then I can warp to the gate, and then hopefully maybe I can split one of them by aggression. Hopefully, you know, the Saber will Saber or Cinnaball will aggress me on one side, then I jump to the other side, the other one aggresses me, then I come back and kill the Saber, or if the Saber's the one that follows me, then I kill the Saber. That's my plan anyway. So, you know, Cinnaball and Saber do follow to this gate on D-Scan. And I land, and, you know, the Cinnaball actually warped to the bubble directly. I guess he was hoping I warped to the bubble directly, and then the Saber warped to a ping. I guess he was maybe scared if he landed on me at 0 that I might be able to kill him, or something. I'm not too sure why he pinged instead. I guess it kind of makes sense. So he warps down to the gate, and the Cinnaball's actually in a bad position here, because the Cinnaball's 115 from the gate. So he's going to have to burn 115 kilometers, or he's going to have to burn away and then like warp down or warp to a ping. It's going to waste, you know, a good 20-30 seconds of his time. So I figure I have enough time to, you know, kill the Saber. And I make a big mistake here, and I think I overcommit in terms of brawling him. Even though, I mean, a Hawk can generally outmuscle a Saber, I go like completely next to a Saber, which, you know, does a lot of DPS at range. What you really want to be doing is scram kiting, you know, staying in his fall-off range, like a 7-8 kilometers, where your rockets are still hitting and doing full damage, but he's doing a lot less damage to you. That also makes it a bit easier to escape. Anyway, I kill this Saber pretty convincingly, I do end up using quite a few charges though, because again I messed up. Also, I make a mistake here in that I go to pod the Saber, but the Cinnaball just came into local. You see the Heavera, or whatever he's called, came into local, and a friend of theirs, a Claw, lands a 0 on the wreck too. So at this point, I'm burning away. I think I could have got out if I was burning in the opposite direction and I didn't stop to pod the Saber, which was a mistake, and I just get alphaed. The Hawk actually has really low hit points on armor and hull. It actually comes really close to the Kestrel. It doesn't really have much more, and that Cinnaball just got like a really good wrecking shot on me. Like, it did almost 2k damage in one shot, and he had autocannons too, so he got a lucky shot. But you know, it's really hard to sort of micromanage your like hull HP, shield HP in the Hawk, because like as soon as you dip down into armor, you can be insta popped quite easily, especially since they had an Articlaw and the Cinnaball there, which does a ton of damage. So anyway, I come back here, and hey, the same guys are camping again. It's the Cinnaball and the Sabers changed to a Republic Fleet Firetail. They're both on this gate here. They're just yellowboxing me. You know, obviously, I guess they know that I'm probably going to kill the Firetail if they split aggression. So I just orbit the gate. Hopefully one of them's going to aggress me, but they don't. So what I do is I lock these guys up, and then I lock up the gate, and I scram the gate to give them the sort of aggro message and the effect that'll appear on the screen here. You know, big message, I'm scrambling something. Maybe they'll like panic aggress. The Cinnaball actually does. So I jump. That Cinnaball does a lot of DPS. Anyway, I jump, and hopefully the Firetail's going to tackle me here. So, you know, I reapproach the gate. Hopefully he decloaks. Looks like he is interested, kind of. So this kind of shows you one of the weaknesses of the Hawk. This guy's actually afterburner fit, as you can see. He's going 1k a second, 1.1k a second. So this is an afterburner fit Firetail, and I have Scourge loaded. So a lot of my DPS is going to get mitigated here. He doesn't scram me either. So I am able to keep on top of him because I can just pulse my Microwarpdrive here and there. I also kind of don't realize it in time. Like, I should have just been staying on top of this guy, like keeping my Microwarpdrive on. I can tank this guy, no problem. The problem is that I need to kill this guy before the Cinnaball gets in. You can see here, you know, my DPS is like, you know, just trash. I'm doing like 1/4 of what I should be doing to him because of that afterburner. And, you know, I should have been staying on him just to get, you know, keep that autocannon DPS on him, because that's, you know, a big portion of my DPS in this fight. And also, I mean, he almost gets away here too. I'm lucky that he didn't scram me for whatever reason. Anyway, because of that, you know, I you know, that was a bad situation for me. That's kind of where, you know, the Harpy would have, you know, or the NU would have just really, you know, killed this fight. The Cinnaball comes in, and I decide that I'm gonna, you know, maybe try and fight him. I get a good orbit on him, or, you know, not really, and then I just get instantly wrecked. That Cinnaball, I think, has like 3 gyros or something, like a lot of DPS. And anyway, that Firetail actually ended up being my fit, a more like poor version of my fit. You know, no Tech 2 rigs. Oh yeah, maybe I need to be careful of dual prop Firetails from now on, since I made that video. But yeah, you know, that kind, I guess that's just kind of interesting fight how it happens. You know, scramming the gate, tricking the Cinnaball into aggressing, and then, you know, kind of shows the Hawk's weaknesses a bit of a mistake on my part. I think should have just stayed on top of him, because, you know, I could have tanked him fine. So yeah, I mean, I hope this video is helpful. And, you know, have fun flying the Hawk. You know, it's not really my style. I prefer the Harpy and NU because I'm more of a DPS guy. But, I mean, in low sec 2, you know, the Hawk is definitely really powerful there. So, you know, if you're in low sec, you know, Hawk, probably the best assault frigate in low sec, in my opinion. But it comes a bit short compared to the NU and Harpy in no sec.